Matt Wallace and I are your moderators today. I'm Britta Nelson, and I'm director of the Government Relations Group, and work with Matt. And Matt, you are?
I'm Career Services, and I know a lot of you because we've had a successful career week that a lot of you guys attended. We saw by raised hand just a few minutes ago. So that's why we get to come here is we get you on the tail end of this and get you when we're helping you to take this incredible education you've taken and turn it into a job.
Yeah, so we are here to moderate the discussion where you're going to learn about the different degree programs. Who thinks that the degree program they choose is going to determine the rest of their life and the jobs they're going to have? Who thinks that you can make changes and tweaks along the way? Have any of us made tweaks to our jobs along the way? Okay, so it's an important time because you're going to be learning about the different things that you're going to learn in your degree programs, the skills, the attributes of somebody that's successful in your degree program. You're also, if you went to the Amazon Tech Talk, you probably learned that what they said is don't feel like you're pigeonholed based on if you choose IS that you have to go IS your whole life. Or, you can make changes along the way. Most people are in one job 3 to 5 years. Now that's kind of the average in development and in the IS world. So you can make tweaks and changes, but it is an important decision, and it's valuable for you to understand what the qualities are of somebody that's successful in the degree program that you're going to choose are. So Matt and I are excited to work with you down the road and want to start working with you now in terms of developing your soft skills in order to get you into some great jobs, and that's why we're moderating, but these guys are the ones with the wealth of knowledge that are going to help you understand more about the programs, and so that you can make a good selection for yourself next quarter. So what we wanted to do first was have each of you take about 5 minutes to just provide an overview of your program. And that can just be, the basics of it, the expectations of the degree. We have some questions. These questions are questions you all asked, so we're responding to what you wanted to know. Coding that's expected in the degree, some of the struggles, some of the fun parts of your degree. And take it away.
I guess I'm starting with me. All right, I'm Tom Beatty. I'm the chair of the Web Design and Development Program at Neumont. So what makes our degree a little bit different than some of the others is we have that design element in there. Now, in truth, design makes up about 20%. We are one of the more heavy coding degrees, along with CS and the game degree. But with that design aspect, students also take graphic design classes, they take classes in media design and user experience as well as a whole bunch of programming classes. Web changes really fast. Oddly enough, the internet seems to have caught on. And so there are a lot of technologies out there. We play with a lot of those. Students that graduate in the web program become full stack developers. That means they do everything from the database all the way on up through the back end to the front end to what you see on your browser and everything in between. One of the cool things is because they are full stack developers and designers, they can create projects from concept to finished production ready product. And that's maybe a little bit unique in our degree. So I guess biggest challenges is that we do learn a lot of different technologies and they are constantly changing. The most valuable thing that you can learn in any degree at Neumont is how to learn new technologies. And so every web class we end up jumping through several of them and learning to combine them and kind of using that to leverage a great product at the end.
Hi. Hello. How you guys doing? I'm Matt Warner. I'm the chair of the Technology Management Program. And you guys have heard like a lot about these programs already, right? Is that true?
Yeah.
So I guess today I'll explain about the TM program through what's happening in Capstone. I think one of the things about the TM program that is unique is how diverse the program is. So yes, we start in CS just like all of the other degrees, but then we do data analytics, we do quality assurance, we do product and project management. So we have some students in Capstone right now who aren't working on technical projects at all. Their emphasis has been going out and meeting with businesses and seeing with real live businesses and trying to talk to the owners how they can contribute and help out that business using technical tools and technical solutions. Some of them are carrying on like a process improvement path. Some of them are trying to contribute on how to help the business be more profitable. Some of them are using technical tools like, say, a website or doing data analytics for a particular business. So that is unique in the TM program. In most of the other programs, we're not really asking the students to get out and talk with real life people in the business world. So that is a path that you can take in TM for those of you who want to work with the business side of technology. Conversely, there are other students in the technology management capstone right now who are doing projects that are straight tech. There's one developing an iOS app. There's a few who are working on quality assurance projects. And you do have the technical skill set channels that you can follow as well with the technology management degree. Unlike the others, there are far fewer programming specific, like application programming specific classes in the TM degree. And instead, we have some business classes like accounting and economics and finance. And then in the TM degree, there's actually 6 courses just related to data management, and data analytics. Some of the other degrees share some of those courses, like database courses, but there are data analytics courses and quality assurance courses that are only offered in the TM program. So I guess if I was to summarize, the types of students who will succeed in the TM program are those who are interested in working with people in addition to technology. And I want to emphasize that if you can focus on having good communication skills and a strong technical skill set in the courses, the electives that you pick in the technology management program, that's going to help you be most successful. It is not a non-technical degree. There are still strong technical components in it, but it doesn't target for your final job, say like a software developer. It targets jobs like a data analyst or quality assurance engineer or a project management type position.
Unless you think that those soft skills of communication are just for TM, Matt and I know, and all of us know from industry, that those skills, they say IQ gets you the job, EQ, your emotional intelligence, or those soft skills will get you promoted and continuing to grow in your occupation. So just those soft skills are really vital from all of these degree programs.
Number one skill that our employers ask for is communication. And it's kind of tricky because they assume that you have the technical skill set, and all of the jobs that we target, you all need that strong technical foundation. But assuming that you have that, the communication is what's going to make the difference for long-term tenure.
It's true.
And birthday boy?
You all know me because you've all had me this quarter. So yeah, everybody's had me in networking or is currently in networking. IS, I've probably given you spiels in networking about the IS, so you probably know a little bit about it. But it's I call it the other technical degree because we do some coding. We actually do a decent amount of coding in it. But then we also take on the infrastructure and the cloud and the security and all of that other kind of stuff. So usually I just say something like ethical hacking, mic drop, and walk out, and then half of you will join my program. So, so yeah, I mean that's the kind of stuff we do in information systems. And I'm actually going to follow Matt's lead because I think Capstone is a fantastic example of the IS degree. We have some students that are doing virtual environments. We have some students that are working with Raspberry Pis. I would say a large majority of them are building front-end websites. Not great front-end websites, but functional front-end websites, right? So the functionality is what I care about in the IS degree. And we get a lot of that from Tom and the JavaScript courses. We get a lot from the SQL courses. So yeah, I tried to suck the best out of all the rest of these guys' programs and stick it into the IS degree. So yeah, jobs after college, your network administrators, systems admins, DevOps engineers, and we've had students go and take straight coding jobs coming out of the IS degree. I've had students go and take QA jobs coming out of the IS degree. So I think Britta's point to the fact that picking your degree doesn't pigeonhole you is actually a really important thing to understand. My biggest thing is I want you to pick the degree you're excited about. I don't want you to default to a degree. I don't want you to just say, well, nothing else sounds good, so I'll just do that, right? Those are really rough students for me to have in class because you're not excited, you don't care, and you're just kind of showing up for class every day. I want you to be excited about your degree. Pick a degree that makes you happy, that you're like, this is fun. I want to go home and work on my homework because it's fun, right? And so if you find that here in the classes you're taking, that's your answer. That's how you find your degree. That's where I want you to go.
And a shameless plug for career services activities that Matt plans. Coming to the tech talks and speaking with employers and understanding, even if you're in IS, coming and learning from a software developer and vice versa. That's going to tell you if you're excited about it as you listen to them and you hear about their technologies and the companies. Like, the more information you can expose yourselves to, including asking our alumni and asking these guys, is going to help you understand what does excite you.
I'm Ray Maple. I'm a little bit new here at Neumont, but I'm the chair of the game development program. Currently, I'm kind of redesigning the program right now. I'm really focusing on the creation of games. I think, I had someone tell me one time, an artist, he was an instructor, and he said, if you want to be an artist, your first 1,000 pictures are going to suck. So let's start drawing now, right? And so I kind of take that with games too. Like, your first bunch of games, they're gonna suck, right? But let's start making those games now and we get better and better. So where the program before was kind of like, we still deal with the nuts and bolts and we learn about all the internals of the game engine and all the components and stuff. But really I'm focusing on, let's create those games. Let's create, I really focus on the creativity, right? I assume that when you come to the program, that's what you want to do. You have I always say ideas are like belly buttons, right? Everybody has them, but let's make those ideas, right? Let's create those things. And
I
so,
only have one.
That's all you're having for your whole life.
Dang it!
One idea.
Innie or an outie, depending upon where you're at in your life.
So in the program, we start off and we learn about, we do a lot of coding. We learn about the internals of the engine. We do all the components, the input, the audio, the logic, and all those parts, the graphics, a lot of graphics work. But then we transition into using Unity so we can actually make some games there. My feeling is like we live in a world that we are full of all these components, these tools. So why don't we use those tools? Where before the thought was, hey, we're going to start from the very bottom and build all these tools up, right? It's good to understand how those things work. But in this world now, if I was going to ask you to make a game, you probably wouldn't start with, booting up Visual Studio and say new project, right? You probably go to Unreal or Unity, and so that's the way I look at it. It's more important to learn how all those components of audio and visuals and design come together, right, into one complete whole. The problem I see with a lot of people's projects is that they don't look very polished. They're very, I had an idea, it's two paddles and a ball that bounce and you hit the ball, right? That's Pong. But that's it, right? That's a great idea, right? Or four ghosts chase this guy and eating these dots. But what I don't see is I don't see a lot of polish, right? And I look at the game degree as an entertainment field, right? It's like making movies or doing music or stuff, right? It's you're trying to entertain people. That's what I want with the game degree. I want you to be entertainers. But there's a pro and con to that, which is that's really fun to do, right? But the con is like the industry is kind of hard right now, right? You really have your AAA titles, right? You have your Overwatch or your Fortnite or whatever game it might be, and then you have a bunch of indies that are all struggling, right? And so for a new, a student going out there, a lot of the AAA places, Blizzard wants people with experience, right? I look at the film business in the same way, to get into the film business, you have to have experience, but how do you get experience unless you make a film? It's kind of this weird thing, right? So for me, I look at games and I'm trying to broaden the horizon of what a game, the definition of that is, right? So we think of game as just things with scores and stuff, but if we look around the world nowadays, game is everywhere, right? Our self-driving cars, I always think it's kind of like a game, right? Except if you lose, you die.
Literally.
Yeah, but that's part of it too, though. You're teaching you're teaching something to do something, right? So there's a goal that you're trying to do, right? You look at AI. This morning, before I left to work today, I said, Alexa, have a good day. And she said, thank you, you have a good day too. And it was like really weird, but imagine a word, like if you think about Alexa, it's kind of like our flip phone, right, of the old days. Now look what we have. In a couple of years, look what AI is going to be. It's going to be your personal person. Hey, don't forget you have a doctor's appointment, or hey, don't eat too much pizza because Little Caesar's not good for you, or whatever it may be, right? It's all exploding. So if we look at game as a bigger thing than just points and score, but we look at AI, computer vision, all these different things, there's lots of opportunities. I look at opportunities as sometimes there's pockets, right? 3 years ago, Oculus Rift was going to change the world, right? And everybody was looking for, hey, we need VR programmers, developers, and stuff. And so that pocket opened up, and everybody had that information or that knowledge to get a job, right? So I'm constantly looking for these pockets because I know straight game, though you want to do it, and just like any other entertainment field, you work and work and work until you get there, but there's other avenues, there's other places to go. So, great move.
You don't actually.
Good job.
Okay, sorry, move on.
Good job.
Yeah.
Sorry, I tend to ramble.
Good job, Rick.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. My name is Kelly Thompson, chair of the CS department. So, yes, to what everyone has said, trying to figure out how to distinguish what a CS person would do. And the first thing that comes to mind is maybe peripherals, right? Drones. CS people are going to work on drones. Printers, scanners, warehouses. But we're really involved. We're in the middle of it all. So we have to have those soft skills to communicate to our users. What does the user want? If they want a nice mowed lawn and instead we plant roses, then there's a problem. Can we communicate with other people within the business? Can we communicate our ideas non-technically, right? Someone comes to you and says, hey, I think I want this. You have to kind of work through that and say, well, I think what you really are saying is this. And then we take that information. We have to send emails. We have to put tickets into Jira or many systems that we might use. Then we have to figure out what tool we're going to use to build that. Is it a startup company where you're going to have to start up a web server, you're going to have to start up a database, you're going to have to figure out the language, you're going to have to figure out the web design, and you're going to launch it? Are you going to walk into a corporate where they already have some of that established for us? So it's endless possibilities. I've seen people go into SQL development. I've seen people from CS degrees go into database management. I've seen them go into management. That's what I did. So it really is a wrapper of a lot of things. Now, I haven't seen, because I haven't been in the gaming development, but I generally don't see CS people go into gaming using Unreal, and I don't generally see them managing the hardware. But everything else that you see in TM and web, we are so close, it just depends what you want to do. Now, gone are the old days as a developer that you go hide in the cube and you never come out, right? They want those soft skills. They need people who are going to stand up and say, I own this, and I'm going to take it, I'm going to go talk to the user, I'm going to test it, I'm going to work with the testing team. You have to get up and you have to communicate. Eye contact, confidence, all of that is going to bode well for you. Now, what are the challenges? Just like Tom said, the languages are changing. There's all this up and coming. Do we adopt it, or do we wait to see what the market is going to do? So we've decided on 2 primary languages, which we know have been strong for many years, C# and Java. The next thing you should know VI so you can get on a Linux machine. You should know JavaScript. You should know HTML. You might want to know React, Node.js. You're going to want to know IntelliJ, Eclipse, MySQL, Oracle, Mongo, all these things that you can take with you and then you can specialize. Now, it's true what Britta said, your average time is 3 to 5 years. I caution and I want all of you to remember, the longer you stay at a company, the less you learn. So if you do stay at a company for a long time, make sure you look outside of those skills that you've learned and you're comfortable with, because if you ever decide to leave, you will fall behind. And so it's always learning. It's always working through Pluralsight, HackerRank, Code Wars, mock interviews, all of this stuff that you have to continually do once you graduate and you start working, even today, right, as you're going through school. So a lot of work ahead for you, but there are so many jobs out there. You just need to figure out what you want to do.
LinkedIn posted an article recently where they had, it was like 30 or 40 skills that pretty much all employers are looking for. And all of those are represented through our degree programs. I was a history major. That didn't really bode well for my career. You all can rest assured know that you are gaining skills that are really needed, I think, forever now.
Yeah, and one that I missed was cloud. I mean, that's kind of a given, right? So Azure or AWS, we're all going to work together to figure out how to strengthen that, because almost all the jobs out there want some cloud experience. We should know how to talk the lingo and get that set up.
I think one of the things is, it was coming down the line here that I heard from a first services perspective, was the passion. So as you're here, look at that passion, look at that excitement. For when you're looking for a job, that comes through. You're excited about what you did, and that makes employers excited to have you. And then the communication was something that I think everyone hit on too. So look at those things and engage on that. So as Britta said, we got some questions. I'm sure you guys all have questions, but we've got some questions that students gave, and we'll start with the first one. And we'll start, so we're not always going in the same order, we'll start with Matt. What are the sort of things that distinguish people who do well in your degree? And what are the traits that work especially well and are unique to that specific degree? IG, leadership, personality, those types of things.
Yeah, so obviously TM is we do focus on communication and business processes. How that materializes in the classroom and in the workplace is being able to ask interesting questions and try to answer them. What products need to be built? What features should be added this particular to this particular software product? Why did we lose 10% of our customers? Why did we gain 10% of our customers? And then we carry that through and build out the plan for what should be added to the software development to our software product, or how should we change our marketing plan, or which product should we kill so we can focus on a new project. So that's what I would say in terms of skills that are unique and something that's going to help you succeed.
Okay, great. Dan, same question to you in about 2 minutes.
Skills that are unique.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't need unique skills. I need passion and curiosity. That's what I need, and actually that probably goes for every single degree. I need you to want to find answers. I need you to want to go look for things and honestly Google it, right? And when Google doesn't tell you, then find some other way to find the answer. That's really the if you have that curiosity of, I really want to know how this works and I want to figure it out and I want to make it work, and I'm going to put in whatever time is necessary to make that happen, you will succeed. You won't just succeed, you'll be a rock star in the degree. So with curiosity and passion, if you have those two things, welcome.
So for the game degree, being creative, right? I mean, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for creative types, people that have ideas, big ideas, right? Things they want to design, create, right? It's not, game making is not binary. It's not like true, false, whether it works or not works, right? There's a part of creativity where you try to get the fun, which is hard to kind of define. So you have to be kind of creative, right? Self-motivated. I always laugh when people say, hey, I'm gonna go to school to be an artist. Well, you kind of, want to be an artist and start drawing now, and then you go to school to refine that. Same thing with a game degree. I could show you how to make games, but I'm not gonna make you a game maker. That has to come from yourself. You really want to do that. You have to be self-motivated. Visual. It's kind of a weird one, but like when we're coming up with concepts and ideas, sometimes you just have to think in your mind, see things like a spinning cube or where things are in space, because a lot of times we deal with things in space. So just to be like very visually minded, right? And then the second or the fourth one would be kind of having empathy, or like be able to see things from another person's viewpoint, because what we do is we present something to someone, right? So you have to kind of dislocate yourself from your own game and like play it as a new user and stuff. So be able to take it from a user's viewpoint, right? So taking it from someone else's, like when someone makes a movie, you kind of think about the scene and go, oh yeah, this was going to be this scene, and I want them to feel this thing. And when they hear the music and all that stuff, they feel that stuff. So you have to be emotional or something like that, right?
I look in space, so
Yeah.
no. People who like to solve difficult problems. How many of you on your phones or in your apartment, you think, I wish someone had built something that would make this more efficient? And that could be you, right? So if you're thinking, I should build this or build something, or look for a team that can build something to make it more efficient, those are the people who will do well in CS. If you look at a problem and you think, I'm not going to solve that because it's too hard, probably not a good degree for you. But those students that look at that and say, I might not be able to figure that out today because I have other priorities, but I see them going back to it. And after a week, when I check back, hey, did you figure that out? And you see this big smile on their face. Yeah, I finally got it. And that's the win, right? The high fives. We did it. And not afraid to fail. We've all made, well, I know we only have 2 minutes. I'll tell you something that I did really early on in my career. So everyone knows what a database is. We have data. We were running auto ships for about 10,000 people, and I decided I was going to write a sequel to update all the products to be $10,000. And it was $10,000 in some other currency, so that would have been like $100. Well, I didn't use a where clause, so I went through and updated all the products to be $10,000. And the auto ships ran, and people's cards were charged $10,000. Not a good day for me or the company, but just remember, we're all going to make those mistakes. We're all going to bring the server down. You just own up to it, correct it, learn from it, and move on. And if you're afraid to make mistakes, you're not going to be able to move forward. So take those chances. Don't change it to $10,000. Learn from that, but that's okay.
My name is Matt. I've also run an update without a word clause.
I'm mad.
Nice job, Matt.
What's a weird class?
Yeah.
If you're not coding right to the production server, you're just not living life.
That you're
Yeah.
not
All right,
living the life. That's right.
So, all right, well, a lot of people, when they think of the web degree, there's that whole design thing that keeps people away. How many of you feel like I suck at design or art or whatever? Yeah, okay. And that immediately makes them discount the web degree. So how many of you hadn't coded at all when you came to Neumont? Yeah. Do you guys expect us to teach you how to code? Have we been doing that?
Yep.
Yeah. So why on earth would you assume that I wouldn't teach you how to design as well? Design has rules just like coding does. And if you understand those rules, you can be a designer. I can't turn you into a great designer. That takes time and practice. But I can make you not terrible, I promise. I can maybe even make you pretty good. We've had students that have gotten jobs as graphic designers competing against people who went to art school. Anyway, on the other side, we have people that really love the design, and that's all they want to do. Remember, we're about 75-80% code. So you do need to be able to code. You don't go into web because you're trying to avoid coding. Maybe Neumont wasn't the right choice initially. But other than that, I agree with Ben. You need to be passionate. You need to love what you're doing. You want to be excited. If not, then find the degree that does make you passionate. We want you to find that immediately. I know it's hard, but that's why we're giving you these little classes, networking, interweb, those sorts of things. What I can't deal with is lazy students. Jenny, if you want lazy students. So, if you're having lazy issues, get over it now.
It does help my grading curve though, because then I don't have to give straight A's. I can give a lot of C's and D's and F's.
Fair enough. I will give straight A's if everyone deserves it. Absolutely. Anyway, so you just have to really enjoy it. Want to learn to become better at this. Next question. Excellent.
My question is math a question for any of you in terms of the skills? How much math? How little math? Or is everyone pretty? Yeah. Okay. So let's just get that because that's kind of on one of the key distinguishing components. Which
Probably
one of you
just one of us can answer it.
Okay. Who's doing a lot of math? In your
Ray?
So yeah, when you see these big books of all of math formulas and stuff, most of the time, and you'll see with programming too, there's a very small subset of stuff that you use like 90% of the time. So we do have quite a bit of math, but it's like I said, it's not like you have to learn like the whole ocean of math and everything. There's a lot of matrices and vectors that we deal with, but we do that over and over and over. So there is math because that's how we translate and move things in the world, right? That's how things are located and positioned. It's through math. Everything's got a number. And so we got to manipulate those numbers to put them in different parts of the world, or use those numbers to determine if there's a collision or not. But if I can do it, you can do it. It's like I said, it's a very small subset of the whole world of math.
So probably game would be most intensive.
Game, and then CS? No. Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, we're all.
And then it kind of just levels out.
algorithms
Okay.
and-
All right.
So TM has a significant portion in statistics. All of the data analysis that we do involves looking at things like average and standard deviation and minimum and maximum. And I think if you look at the hierarchy of skills, we don't really do any hardware engineering here, like building of the processor. But in computer science, you learn that first level, like how do we code bare metal on the processor, right? And then computer science also takes care of building algorithms that run efficiently. So they might build an algorithm that can use a neural network to calculate, to do computer vision, right? And in TM, we use libraries that we'd use like a natural language processing library to compare volumes of text, right? So we're using those algorithms, we're using those libraries in the TM degree. So there is some math there as well, but you're not writing that stuff from scratch.
I could say something real quickly about the web degree. We don't do as much math at least as a requirement for the degree, but the more math that you know, the cooler things you can do in any language and in any degree.
Thank you. Okay, so starting with Ben, this next question, since I bet you probably all don't want to graduate and go back and live in your parents' basements, right? Playing games. All right, they probably don't want that either. Is to look forward to future careers. So I'm curious to know from each of you, what jobs have you had relative to your degree that you had, and what are you seeing what jobs are you seeing people in your degree programs getting, and what salaries are they attaining?
Okay, so yeah, I started out at a very young age hacking on computers, and God, what jobs have I had? I've worked on a help desk. That was a lot of fun. I've been a system admin. I've been a network engineer. I've been a storage administrator. I've been a virtualization engineer. I've been, most recently before Neumont, I worked for the federal government, doing a lot of work for various agencies, building data centers and managing teams of IS and CS people that were building products for the U.S. government. So I've done quite a few things in my career. As far as what careers the students are getting, we have run the gambit. Holy cow. I've had, like I said, I've had guys take jobs in the TM, what would be traditionally be the TM field. I've had people take jobs in what would traditionally be the CS field and go do Java coding. We've had people go work for companies like HP and Google and Amazon, and so, you know, some of the largest companies. And we've had a lot of students that just go stay here in Utah and work for local companies as their system administrator or their DevOps engineer, or, you know, stuff like that. So realistically, the market is wide open. Information systems has a very broad market. We try to teach to a very broad market so that you can kind of specialize once you leave. So you can be a system administrator or a security guy or a storage person or a coder or a DevOps or a, you know, there's all these different things you can be. It's very broad. As far as salaries, I'm going to be honest with you. You know, I think in what is it, the first week thing we do with you guys, we show you our little GPA versus salary chart. And my guys have tracked the GPA versus salary chart almost to a T. I've had people take 40s, low 40s, and I've had people take almost 6 figures. So, you know, there's this huge range. Average, I think I'm at like 62, 63. It's right about the Neumont average. And, you know, everybody, I used to say everybody gets a job. I don't say that anymore. I now say everybody who wants a job gets a job, because we've run into several students who, when they leave Neumont, for whatever reason, they simply don't want to get a job. And we can't help you get a job if you don't want a job. But anybody who has asked us for our help, and Matt and Britta can verify this, everyone who has asked us for our help and has done what we've asked you to do in terms of resumes and contacting and interviewing and all that, they're all employed. Every one of them is employed. So it's a fantastic opportunity.
Which means your first job may not be like your pick of the litter.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
absolutely. You might be taking a junior administrator position. You might be doing phone support at Symantec, you know, and that's a really good paying job, but it's still phone support for Symantec security products, right? But I mean, that's a huge opportunity. You put a company like Symantec or Amazon on your resume for a couple years, and then you write your ticket somewhere else, right? So keep an open mind especially when you start getting into the job search. Keep a really good open mind. Just because it's not your preferred job, just because you're not working for Blizzard on day one, doesn't mean you won't be the senior dev at Blizzard in 10 years, right? So
40.
yeah, or whatever.
We've had a lot of our Tech Talk people talk about management. Are you wanting to go into management? Some of you want to go right out and be sysadmin. Maybe not understanding that in that role at a company, you're going to be the one that's called at 2 a.m. in the morning to come, you know, turn the alarm system off when it goes off.
Yeah.
And you're going to have a lot of heat on your back when the systems go down. Do you want that right out of the gate? It might be a great title. Are you ready to take that on? Or is maybe starting as a level 3 help desk a better way to kind of ease your way in? There's going to be some important decisions that Matt can help you. Don't get stuck on title, on salary, on company name. That's why we work with you, to try and help vet out what's going to work best for you. So Ray, you're next.
Okay, so yeah, I started off at a yogurt store, and I was pumping yogurt and putting on toppings.
Totally the normal way.
And then I
Sounds
worked
right.
at Magic Mountain as a ticket taker at Six Flags Magic Mountain. And then I worked at a car wash.
And then he came here.
And then
Now he's
I read like
Great job on my car.
game programming 24 hours, and now I'm here. No,
Game programming 24.
I spent the last 20 years as a gameplay programmer. That's what I do. I work on the gameplay side. I worked for 10 years. So yeah, the industry has shifted where before people would stay places for a lot longer. Now it's a lot shorter. But I worked at a place called Way Forward Technologies. We did like games like Shantae and Contra for like the Game Boy and the Nintendo DS. So I worked on smaller things, and then I came to Salt Lake and I worked at Disney, and I worked on Toy Story, Cars, and then I did Infinity 1, 2, and 3. So I've had a lot of experience, but like I said, I'm particularly like a gameplay programmer. I programmed the logic for the objects. you know, we're kind of in an issue right now about like jobs for games, right? And I kind of alluded to that earlier. And like right out of the gate, you know, it's hard to get into some of these bigger places because they want experience, right? And the reason why they want the experience is they want to know that you've been through the development cycle process. Because at the very beginning, it's fun. Hey, we're gonna make anything, whatever. It's great, and then towards the end, it really sucks. And you got crunching, you're crunching, and some people just can't handle that, right? But if you ship your first product, they go, oh, he knows what or he or she knows what that process is. So you have to get that experience. So I was talking to the recruiter from Amazon, and I said, well, because Amazon has Amazon Game Studios, which they use the Cry engine, Crytek, Crysis, for all you guys who know. And they were getting some programmers, and one of my coworkers from Disney went there. But I asked her, like, if people from Neumont wanted to go there. She said, well, you know, they usually want experienced programmers. So, but there are a lot of companies that are doing a lot of hiring. She like mentioned Zynga from like, you know, in the Bay Area. So you have to live in a closet, but you get some experience. But there's a lot of companies that kind of do that, right? So you kind of have to pay your dues. I feel like I said before, it's kind of like the entertainment business. You kind of have to work your way up a little bit and work on smaller projects. But on the other hand, what I think too is that when Disney shut down our studio after Infinity 3, a lot of programmers decided they didn't want to do games anymore because they were just burnt out. Because it kind of burns you out a little bit. And they went to 3M, they went to all these different companies. So what I want to say is that if you know games, and I might be biased, then you have you're on the cutting edge of technology. You know a lot of things, right? So you can transfer that to a lot of different areas. And I always feel like when you go to a place, they just want to know if you're proficient. And then when you go there, they'll teach you their way, right? It's usually like you kind of have to have a base knowledge. You go there and then you learn. Because you're going to learn a lot here, but you're going to learn so much more when you get your first job, right? So, and typical salary, if you're an indie developer, you get nothing, right? But if you're a good programmer, you know, like maybe 60 to 70,000 a year or something like that. But you know, I'm looking for avenues for everything.
Thanks, Ray. How about you, Kelly?
So software engineer, manager, business owner, executive, run the gamut. But what are you going to expect? You're going to be a junior software developer, right? Might be QA. So as companies are realizing that our QA people should be just as technical as their developers, that's another great avenue because you should have access to pretty much everything that a developer has. So software developer, software engineer, QA, and then really whatever you want to do from there, that's your decision, right? SQL developer, if you want to go into management, senior developer, architect, just once you get into a company, then you can decide what you want to do.
All right.
We're throwing signs over here.
Okay. So, let's see. I started out a little bit unusual for Neumont. I have fine art degrees, computer art with an emphasis in 3D animation. But I worked in television for a little while, and I spent 15 years running my own business. And I started out as a web design and development company, but I did animation and games, and I did work for Frito-Lay, Chuck E. Cheese, Boy Scouts of America, and some other companies that I cannot publicly name, but if you talk to me in private, I can. So I was actually hired as game faculty here initially, and then the web chair at the time found out I had some background in web, and he sort of got in a tug of war with the game chair at that time. Evidently won, because I'm now the web chair. I've got a background in both areas, and I have a love for both areas, but web game development is always something that I have a real passion for. But my students have gotten jobs in a variety of areas. Most of them become front-end developers, and so they are doing coding with JavaScript and Angular and React, as well as a little bit of CSS and HTML. I've had some get jobs as front-end designers where they decided, I'm a good coder, but I want to do the art stuff. And typically, their salaries are a bit less, not always, but usually that's the case. And then I have a few that have gone on to be full-stack developers. Tend to be more money there, and they're doing front end and the back end, connecting with the database and dynamically creating web pages using ASP.NET or Node. So a wide variety of options there. Salaries tend to not vary too much in web, almost consistently between 65 and 75, with a lot of them getting 70. So that's not a lot of variation. I can think of maybe one who went design and they got 55, but mostly 65 to 75.
Thank you. Yeah. Final question. I think we're looking.
Did we get
Yeah.
over?
Matt's turn.
Do I get
Oh,
to
Matt, oh
answer?
no,
Yeah,
sorry,
sorry,
Matt's
yeah, we
out.
said we
Matt's
didn't,
out.
yeah, we didn't finish.
Sorry, Matt.
So my bachelor's degree was in the equivalent to the TM degree. But my very first job was an application programmer intern. I got a job as a software developer because I had taken software development courses in my bachelor's degree, which is what TM students do, right? So that is a potential path that you can take. And we do have TM grads who start in junior web development or junior application development. You obviously have far fewer software development classes than, say, like CS or web, but that is a channel that you can take. So I followed the software development track through my career and went up from application developer to software engineer to lead and senior, and then had management over teams, and I finished up as a director of technology for a Fortune 500 company. That transition is because I'm passionate about the merger between business and technology. I want CS students to figure out faster ways to sort strings so that I can sort, I can call arrays.sort and figure out how to apply that to the business, right? And solve business problems using technology. So that's kind of where my passion is. And as you think about the TM degree, I went on as I was preparing for this and just pulled up a variety of jobs that we target in TM. And there's a strong correlation between the level of your technical skills and your salary. So junior data analyst, 40K, data analyst, 70K. Junior developer, Indeed, list that at 58K. Quality assurance analyst and engineer, 67 and 80,000. But if you want to go into the management track, there is I would say a lower, 40K if you're going to start out there, because no one hires you as the project manager, right? We've had a few TM students who've just started in the project management role, but they're at the very top of the class. So you're going to start as an associate project manager, or an assistant to the team lead, and those jobs don't pay as well. But as you gain more experience, then I would say those jobs have a higher limit on their salary.
And one thing that sometimes TM students don't recognize, technical recruiting. So finding people, understanding how to talk the language and find people to hire into companies.
Technical sales.
Technical sales, extremely lucrative positions. If you can join sales teams with the lead engineer, and you're that person that can bridge the dialogue between the engineer and then the rest of the people, you're well into the six figures and up into the 200,000s, like when you get really good at it. So, and then technical writing is another thing. So if you are a little more introverted, but you speak the tech, you can actually do some technical writing for companies, which is also an extremely valuable role.
All right, we're coming to an end, but we've got one more question that Ray asked, but we're going to do speed round. You got 1 minute. That's okay. So what kind of, and some of you have already kind of alluded to it a little bit, capstone projects your students do and enterprise projects. What are some of those? What do some of those look like and succeed at? We'll start with Ray.
Yes.
Time. Done.
Well, I wrote it down. So projects that might deal with AI, because it's really hot right now, right? Computer vision. Last capstone, I had a student do kind of, a computer vision program to identify where these balls were on the screen. So a lot of things in the game-related things are things that are very visual. So AR, VR, like I said, the AI is very big thing right now. So.
What was the question? Oh, capstone. Enterprise. Cloud. Need to use the cloud. Need to have a database. Need to have a tool. You can do Android, iOS, laptop, web, and some language that will push you on your limits.
Okay, for Capstone for web, we're all over the map. Chances are it probably uses the internet. Do things like that. But we've had people create MIDI applications that work through the web, where you play a MIDI keyboard and it writes the sheet music for you. We've had people create cake designers. We've had people create wireframing tools that are multi-user, so multiple people can connect up through their website at one time and work on building a wireframe or prototype. So really anything you can imagine, we do in the web.
So for TM, I'll just highlight two TM students right now who are in Capstone, and they started out on data analytics projects, and both of them partnered with real companies, and both of those companies have either offered the job and have hired the student to start working for them, or have said, hey, you figure this out, I want to hire you. And this is in Capstone before enterprise. Data analytics is a very hot, a very quickly growing field right now, and that is the process of seeing things that aren't working quite right, gathering the data to figure out how you're going to solve the problem, and then recommending a solution. QA is also another field that you can go into that I would recommend for your capstone project. Working independently, finding and fixing defects, that's really useful. The communication stuff, the business management stuff, that comes over time. There are students that take that on in capstone, but I would prefer that you focus on a technical skill set for your capstone project.
I'm not supposed to do this, but I'm going to pitch for TM for a second. Britta and I met with an employer yesterday who has 12 open data analytics positions for the last 2.5 years because they can't hire enough data analysts right now. They just can't find them. So just FYI. I'm just throwing that out there. Pitching for Matt.
Thanks, Ben.
Let me pitch for IS for now. Or it just rolled over. It's like, oh no, we just lost half our cohort. Yeah, exactly, right? Later. IS, so first thing I want to say is if you're interested in the IS degree, you are absolutely welcome at Capstone. It starts at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. We start presenting, and it's the vast majority of capstones are IS and TM capstones this quarter. So if you're interested in either of those degrees, I realize it's early. Yes, I will be there, but you're welcome to come. It's in this room. Come to this room.
The TM students, they're sleeping in. They'll be going at 1 o'clock starting next
TM are going at 1. IS are starting at 8 a.m.
CS will never start at 8 a.m.
And I just lost the other half of my group.
Never.
Wow.
The IS gets called in at 2 a.m.
The bus just rolled over me right there. Okay, as far as capstones, we actually have some super cool ones. Some of my favorite ones, we've got students building security devices for home wireless so that you can actually have usernames and passwords that you can give at home rather than just a key that is easily hackable. We have a student who actually built, speaking of AI and Alexa, he integrated Alexa with his virtual environment, so he can now say, Alexa, build me a virtual machine, and it does it, which is pretty cool. So there's some really cool ones. A lot of them have code, a lot of them deal with code, and so I want you to understand if you go into IS, you're going to get all the hardware you want. We're going to play in the cloud. We're going to play in that whole server room that's downstairs. You're also going to have to code. You're going to have to learn C#. You already have had to learn Java. You're going to have to learn Bash and PowerShell, JavaScript, all kinds of stuff. As far as enterprises go, IS students take coding enterprises. We don't always get you in a sysadmin role in enterprise. Keep in mind, your enterprise project is to give you experience, not necessarily experience in your degree. It's to give you experience, right? So that's something that should be pointed out. You may end up, as a TM student, going and writing code for some company. And we expect you to have that skill set because you are a Neumont student. Neumont students are a cut above, period. I mean, every employer tells us this. We see this in the industry. Neumont students are considered to be better than your peers. And so we expect you to step up to whatever enterprise we put you in and just rock it and make that employer love you, regardless of the degree you go into. So that's kind of what we do in IS.
Yeah, thank you. You guys, this has been great. Hopefully, are questions coming through a different way, Alice, or no? Okay. So, yeah, and in terms
They can email us directly.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Anyone who has questions, come see us.
Reach out to your chairs, reach out to your faculty. We also are responsible, Matt and I, for the alumni relations group. If you feel like you'd like to speak with an alumni, we can teach you how to find alumni on LinkedIn. We can also connect you with some of those alumni that have been willing to talk with you and to be able to answer questions you have. So come to Matt or me and we will help you there. As for enterprise projects, that is a role that we are in terms of finding those enterprise projects. And Ben's exactly right. We find companies that have challenging projects, that have opportunities for your employment, that are enthused to bring you on, and then we give those opportunities for you just to learn what it means to show up regularly, to be part of a project team, to be trying to create something, to be testing, to be doing all these different things. Those 6 to 9 months will be invaluable to you as you then hit the job market. And so it may or may not be right in your degree program. We seek and look out for enterprise projects through many, many different avenues to find them. And when we find a good company, we're going to grab them. And then those opportunities get to be yours to learn, to grow. Everyone has learned a new technology on their enterprise project, hands down.
And we have all done that in our careers.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something that's unique, just as a Neumont student with enterprise projects. All of us have got assignments in our careers that are different from what our background is. And if you're okay with learning new skill sets, then you get to pick your future rather than someone telling you what you're going to do.
Matt, did you have anything you wanted to say before we wrap up?
No, I hope this was helpful. Like I said, as Career Services, I'm here to help you and hope to introduce you to a lot of other companies. But really just find your passion. That makes my job in helping you find your end career a whole lot easier. So find your passion, talk to these guys, and follow that.
And your final step is to keep your eye out for an email from Alice that's going to provide the details for the degree declaration process. So this takes place next quarter, so between now and then, let us know how any of us, our alumni, can help you in making this decision. Good. Thanks.
Thanks, you guys.
Thank you.